Well, that was a cracking breakfast. It's got beans, egg, some kind of oat cake, toast, bacon, sausage, haggis. I'm not sure what that is. And a coffee for just £4. Can't believe I've found that on the last day. Right, so lots to do today. My first stop, I'm going to the Gallery of Modern Art. I need to go to the People's Palace. I need to go to the big cemetery on the hill. I'm also going to try and check out the Riverside Museum, both football grounds, and there's a park as well at the other side of the River Clyde, which I'm going to try and get to. That's a lot to cram into one day. It's 11:15. That's the plan, so let's see how we get on. So I made it to the Gallery of Modern Art, which I was pleased to find was free admission. I've not been in yet. This is the gallery one was closed, so this is the first one I'm going to look at. And it's got some Andy Warhol in there. Also very pleased to find that there are toilets in there, because a combination of last night's beer and this morning's haggis left my stomach feeling a bit queasy. So I'm all good now, so let's go explore. So that was the Gallery of Modern Art, which was pretty cool. 4 galleries, only 2 of them actually open, but it was interesting. One of the galleries had, it was a project taken in the 70s where a guy took a photograph of the same park bench every hour for 24 hours, park bench in a well-known cruising area in San Francisco, and that was pretty cool, that was interesting. So now I'm off to the Mungo Museum of Religious Art. So it's nice to come out of the museum to find it's not actually chipping down. You never know in Scotland. You could walk into a shop and it'd be glorious sunshine, and then a minute later you come outside and it's absolutely belting it down with rain. So I think I'm going the wrong way. Right, on to the Museum of Religious Art. So this is the Religious Museum. It's my next stop. It took me about 20 minutes to walk here. The cathedral's just behind it. I'm going there next. And you can see one of these famous police boxes just there, which is now a coffee shop. Probably the smallest coffee shop in Glasgow. Finally the light's gone green. I've been stood here for about 5 minutes. Let's hope it's open. Appears to be. Free admission, like everything else that I've done in Glasgow. Right, let's have a look. So it's named after the patron saint Mungo, who introduced Christianity to Glasgow in the 6th century. But the museum is not a Christian museum. There's all religions are represented here. the idea of the museum is to create understanding between people of different faiths. So you've got Islam, Buddhism, Sikhism, Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, and Islam. They're all represented here. And people of no faith are encouraged to visit as well. So I'm in the religious art gallery at the moment. Interesting. Nigerian. You can see just from the first room that all different religions are represented. This painting here is called the Massacre of Srebrenica, which is the small town in Serbia where during the war in 1995 the 8,000 Muslim men and boys were taken from the town and massacred and buried in mass graves despite having protection from the UN. And I found out about that. I went to a museum about that in Sarajevo. It's quite horrific. So I'm in the second round of angels. So we've got paintings, monuments and masks. You can even dress up like an angel. Don't think I'll be doing that. But I think out of all this stuff, and there is some pretty cool stuff here. A shield from 1866. Lots of paintings. I think my favourite thing is this in the corner. Charlie's Angels. Luckily they're not playing any Robbie Williams in the background. It's an angel made from a drink can. It's sold to raise money for education and upbringing in South Africa. So located just behind the religious museum is the Glasgow Cathedral. I think you can go inside. I'm not sure whether you have to pay. If you do, I'm not going in. Everything's been free so far. Yep, admission free. Let's take a look. Not sure they'd appreciate me belting out a tune on there. into here first. Downstairs it's St Mungo's tomb. Let's go and have a look. Here it is. Lots of pilgrimages used to come here to see the tomb of St Mungo. Serious meeting was going on in there. So I've just come out of Glasgow Cathedral, which is very cool. Really amazing building inside and outside. Free to get in, so if you're in Glasgow, make sure you check it out. Right behind the cathedral is the Glasgow Necropolis. This is the entrance, and that's where I'm about to head into now. This was built in the early 1800s in response to the growing population of the city, which in a short space of time the population went from 70,000 to over 200,000. Entrepreneurs and merchants that had made vast fortunes in importing coffee and cotton and spices and tobacco, and there were too many people in the city, and the churchyard just couldn't keep up with the amount of people that were dying, which was numbering about 5,000 a year. So they had to do something, so they built this place. People of all faiths buried here. The first person buried here was Jewish, and then a year later the first Christian person. So I'm going to go in now and take a look around. Let's see it. So that was the Glasgow Necropolis, which is very cool. Great views from the top overlooking the cathedral. I was going to go to the Celtic football ground next, but it's a 40-minute walk and then 40 minutes back to here. It's out of the way. Everything else I want to visit is all within the same kind of area, but this would mean put an hour and 20 minutes on my journey, and to be honest, all I'd be doing when I got there was just kind of looking at it going, oh, there it is. So I'm going to have to skip that, I'm afraid. So the next stop is the People's Palace. So this is the Tennant's Brewery. There's a couple of other breweries within the same area. There's one called Wellpark Brewery and another called Drygate. I've just walked past the Drygate one, and that looks like it's a craft beer brewery. You can go in and there's a bar, cafe and all that kind of thing. I think they do tours as well. They certainly do tours here. I'm not sure about the Wellpark. But what I do like about this place, I'm not going in, is they've got all street art down around the outside, so I'll just take you down and give you a look. One thing I've noticed about walking around the streets of Glasgow and seeing the graffiti and the posters that people stick up on the walls of the streets is that people in Glasgow really don't like the Tories. Which sits well with me because I don't like them either. So I made it to my next stop. I just walked through this council estate to get here. And this is the People's Palace behind this monument here. I've got to say, it's eerily quiet, almost like it's not open. Oh, there's a bus, a multilingual tour. I guess there's people going to be getting off that bus and coming to have a look, hopefully. I thought this was like one of the big tourist attractions in Glasgow, but there doesn't seem to be anyone here at all. So, well, let's go and have a look. So this is Private James Riley, who was a Scottish soldier in the First World War. I actually do know the story of this guy because he was shot by a German soldier, and he was saved because in his pocket he had a German drill book that he found, and just luckily just put it in his pocket. The bullet went through that, but then he had a shaving mirror at the back. And this is what saved his life because it stops the bullet from entering his chest. Lucky man. So back in the days before people owned their own washing machines, people in Scotland used to take their dirty laundry to public washing facilities that were called steamers. And the first one was actually built on the Glasgow Arena Park just outside the People's Palace in 1747, I think it was. And they looked something like this. So this is where people would come to do their washing. There'd be lots of them doing it at any one time, and they were quite social places. The women would come and have a good old natter, or have a blether, as it used to be, as they used to call it, catching up on the local gossip. And maybe after they'd finished with the laundry and they took the laundry back home, they would go to Buttercup Dairy Company to go and get their eggs and butter and milk. Good prices. And this is what it would have looked like. And just before World War II, it actually became one of the first places in the UK to have self-service in the shops. So where people would actually go over to the counter and pick up their own products and take it to the till and pay for it. This came from the nephew of the owner, who visited Canada and seen the same thing happening there, and they introduced it in their shops. So everything would be on the shelves, apart from butter, which you would have to purchase at the counter. So Mr. Ewan, who used to run these shops, very religious, and he donated all the eggs laid by his hens on a Sunday to charity in the hospitals. An incredible 100,000 eggs he would donate every week. Not sure whether there are any of them left. At one point he had 400 shops, half of them in Glasgow, and this is what they look like. So there you go, that would be an everyday life in Glasgow during World War II. I think it's safe to get out now. I've been in here for 9 hours. So I'm moving around the first floor. This next section, we're all going down the water, which is all about how the poorest people in Glasgow, who couldn't afford to go anywhere, would spend their entire holidays just going down to the river, whereas you get the quotes here. 9 times out of 10 it was raining. Typical Scotland. And down here you've got information about Scotland's relationship with alcohol. Talking about when alcohol is a bad thing, or when alcohol can be a good thing, a social thing. Oh dear. The 1830s there was a temperance movement, people who were cutting alcohol out of their lives completely, because it was causing so many problems, lots of marriages breaking down because husbands would go out and get drunk, come back and probably beat up the wife. Some Scottish drinks there. This is the actual barrow in the 19th century that the police used to carry drunks off to jail. Take that guy out. 1996, public drinking was banned in Scotland. This is all about alcopops and young people drinking. Oh, Bookfest. It's full as well. Classic iron brew. It explains here that it is believed by some to be a good hangover cure. I'll stand by that, definitely. This is the bell from Duke Street Prison that they would ring every time they executed a prisoner. From 1865 until 1928, hangings took place in the prison. These are the list of names of people who were hung between 1814 and 1865. You can see murder, 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 rape, and housebreaking. People were executed for breaking into someone's house. So just over there in the centre of there's a monument there. That's probably a monument to represent the people that were executed there, because this is where the executions took place, the public hangings between 1814 and 1865. Just over there, I don't know if I can get this, you can just see Nelson's monument. That would be the last thing that the prisoner would see. Incredible to think that they were big occasions in the town, and whole families would come out to and sit and wait for hours to get a good view. You know, women and children, food and drinks, street food, entertainers. It was a big social event, and the last person to be hanged on this green, 80,000 people came to see it. So imagine, you know, there's a guy being hung in the middle there, 80,000 people around it. I mean, what are you going to see at the back of 80,000 people? Not much. So, but it just shows that it was a big social gathering. Incredible. So I've just come out of the People's Palace, which was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I think it's probably my favourite museum in Scotland. The last part was all about kind of life in Scotland, from being very young to being a pensioner, and how things have changed over the years. It's very interesting. Some fantastic photos and artifacts from over the decades. Yeah, it was very cool. Definitely add that to your itinerary if you come to Glasgow. You can see a little bit of street art around here. Some of it you can't get to anymore because it's all boarded up. You can see one over there. I'm going to head now for a couple of beers. I think that's me done now. I'm not going to get to Ibrox or the other places I was planning on visiting, because it's just too far. It's about an hour, over an hour to get there, and then it'll be an hour back. I think I've done enough for today. I've been on the go for about 6 hours, so I think that's me done now. I'm going to go and have 2 or 3 beers. I'm going to Maggie May's, which is a music venue. I doubt that there'll be live music on at this time because it's only 4 o'clock. That's another one of them things. So I'm going to enjoy a few beers and then get some food and then go back to the hotel and have a chill that night. Try and put this into some kind of vlog. And yeah, early start tomorrow for a 7-hour bus ride back to Sheffield. So I guess that's it for me in Glasgow, which has been fantastic. Love it, love Glasgow. I loved Edinburgh as well. I know people always compare the two and say which one's the best. Edinburgh's definitely more touristy, but not in a negative way. It's a beautiful city, but I think Glasgow is just a bit edgier, yeah, lots of really cool coffee shops and bars and restaurants. There's some street art down there. I've missed the turn, so I'm not going to be able to get that one. So yeah, big thumbs up, loved it. Loved my whole time in Scotland, it's been fantastic. So back to Sheffield now for a couple of weeks, and then hopefully, if flights are still running, but with the coronavirus and everything, I'll be moving on to Romania in 2 weeks' time. Okay, so this is Maggie May's, so this is where I'm going to go for a beer. So it's my last day in Glasgow and Scotland, and I've just realised that I've still not tried a deep fried Mars bar. I just walked past the fish and chip shop, and I thought, well, this is my last chance, and of course they sold them, so here it is. I think it's one of them small Mars bars you get in multi-packs, £2.50 as well, but basically a Mars bar with a bit of batter on it. So here we go. It's good. It's a bit like a warm Mars bar with a bit of batter on it. So for £2.50 they're making a lot of profit on this Mars bar. So yeah, thumbs up from me.